Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
As we are seeing coronavirus cases rising across the country, with me is Dr. Indu Bhushan, who is the CEO of Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana and the National Health Authority. Today we are talking about the preparedness of against coronavirus across the hospitals in the country and what role does NHA going to play in this. So welcome to the print, Dr. Bhushan.
Thank you for having me.
Sir, how many patients have availed the treatment for COVID under Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana?
I don't have the exact numbers, but I must tell you that only recently we have included the packages for testing and treatment of COVID-19 under the scheme. And so states are in the process of finalizing the rates that they should pay to private sector. As you know that right now much of the treatment and also testing is being done by the government. And when the government is doing it, it's of course free of charge. So the Ayushman Bharat and private sector will become relevant when there's a large number of cases which are going to the private sector. Right now, not many patients are going to the private sector, either for testing or treatment. That's why the number of cases are not very large. So I would say overall, they are in the range of a couple of hundred. But as and when, and I hope it does not happen, if there is a surge in terms of number of COVID cases, and when public sector will not be able to take care of them, then large number of patients will go to private sector, and at that time number of cases being supported by Ayushman Bharat will also increase.
And are you seeing also a number of decrease in the number of cases which are for non-COVID treatment across the country? And what impact do you think that will have?
Well, that's a very important question because many hospitals which were earlier providing support for critical illnesses like dialysis, chemotherapy, have now become dedicated COVID-only hospitals. Many large government hospitals have converted into dedicated COVID-only hospitals. Therefore, private sector and other hospitals have to increase their support for these kind of health conditions. And so support for non-COVID related illnesses and health conditions is also very important, especially those who can't be postponed. But unfortunately what we've seen is that there's a large decline in total number of treatments that we are supporting. Before the lockdown or before the COVID became a big issue, under Ayushman Bharat, we were providing about 25 to 30,000 treatments every day. Now that number has come to about 10 to 12,000. So there has been an decrease of about more than 50% in terms of treatment. But one good thing that we see is that critical treatment like dialysis, chemotherapy, and high-risk deliveries, those numbers have not gone down by 50%. They have gone down only by about 10 to 15%. So we are seeing a decrease in those critical treatments, but not that much. But overall, there has been a large decrease for more than 50%.
And how are you trying to negotiate with the private hospitals to make them make all these services available? Because government has asked them to remain open, but as we see across the cities, they've been very reluctant to take any case.
That's correct. What we've seen is that there is some fear factor, and hospitals are being conservative in terms of providing services. And many hospitals have been working at a reduced level of operations. But that is also partly because people are not very keen to go to hospitals. And in general, even if the hospitals are open, they have seen a drastic decline in footfall. They've seen that a lot of people have postponed their if it's a elective procedure that has been postponed. And I had visited a couple of hospitals recently, and I was told that the decline has been in some cases up to 90%. So many hospitals are struggling with their business model, and their revenues have gone down. In some cases, they are struggling with the working capital and the resources for providing, say, salaries for their staff. So hospitals are also under stress. Even those hospitals who want to be working, they are not seeing patients coming to them. So we hope that both hospitals will come forward and open their doors and keep the services open. At the same time, people who really need services, they'll not postpone them because otherwise they will present themselves with very complicated health conditions.
And are you expecting a surge now that the lockdown is being relaxed in many parts of the country? And how are they going to prepare for it?
Well, I don't know, but obviously there is a pent-up demand. Like I was saying, that if people have postponed their elective surgeries or elective treatments, so they are going to come back, and there might be a certain increase, but over time probably it will just smoothen out. So we might see a certain increase for certain time, but at the same time this increase will be attenuated by the fact that people are still reluctant to go to the hospitals, and so I have a feeling that this increase will be gradual and will not overwhelm the capacity of hospitals.
And what role do you think PMJY and the database will help the government in preparing for COVID response? What kind of support are you providing to the health ministry?
We are providing several types of support. One, that COVID helpline, which is managed, which is run by the ministry, is managed by us. We are fielding more than about 40,000 calls every day. In addition, we are supporting Arogya Setu app, because on Arogya Setu app, as you know, people fill out their symptoms, and if we find that symptoms are COVID-like symptoms, we make the calls to them and find out if they need any help for treatment or testing or other help. So we've last 1 week we made more than 3 lakh calls to those people who have reported COVID-like symptoms on Arogya Setu. In addition, we are also helping the ministry in terms of identifying the details of the COVID patients, because those details in terms of where the patients are, in terms of their location and phone number, is important for containment. So we are helping in terms of cleaning that data. So there are many other issues on which we've been working with the ministry, including support for the poorest for providing treatment and testing.
And do we have the numbers of how many hospitals are COVID which are covered under PMJ?
We don't have those numbers right away, but what we've done is we've tried to impanel more hospitals and more private hospitals, because we need to have greater number of non-COVID hospitals as well. So we have launched what we call Health Empanelment Module Lite, so that we can, without going through the whole process, we can provide, we can impanel more new hospitals. And for that, what we found in the last 1 month, about 900 new hospitals have been impaneled, and most of them are private hospitals. So that will help a lot in providing non-COVID care, but at the same time, we believe that many of these hospitals may be dedicated COVID hospitals. But as of now, I don't have the exact numbers, but there are non-COVID hospitals which are being impaneled by different state governments under PMJ.
So, sir, I wanted to ask you, how is NHA using the intelligence and the data to predict cases or to fight COVID?
Well, that's a good question because we have access to large amount of data that we treatment data that we have for last almost 1.5 years, but also every day we have the data on what kind of treatment is being sought. So based on that, we every day in the morning 9:30 we look at previous day how many SARI cases or ILI cases came for treatment and in which area. And if there's a spike, any hospital which is getting more than 5 SARI cases, we report that to Ministry of Health and states to inquire and find out whether there is any surge in COVID there, because that can be a leading indicator for COVID. So we do that. In addition, we have a list of all those people who are high risk for COVID. For example, everyone who's more than 60, or everyone who has a cardiovascular condition, or is undergoing dialysis, or has other chronic disease which makes them susceptible to high risk category in COVID-19. So we have special responsibility towards these people who are at higher risk. So what we are doing is we are calling them, because in most cases we also have their phone numbers, and we are calling them, giving them advice about what to do about keeping social distancing, and inquiring whether they have any problems. So that can help in terms of keeping them safe in this epidemic.
And about SARI and ALI cases, how do we ensure that they get tested for COVID? And are they getting tested?
So we have issued recently directives that all SARI cases which are admitted should be tested. And as and when any hospital is raising a pre-authorization for SARI cases, they have to also raise a pre-authorization for testing. And when they submit the claim, we will ask them whether they did the testing. If they did not do the testing, then why? So we want to ensure through our system that all SARI cases which are admitted should be tested.
And how many are we seeing every day?
Right now we see about, of course, it varies with the days, but on an average about 200 SARI cases every day.
And are all of these, I mean, how many of these are positive for COVID? Do we have data on that?
Well, we don't have data, but we hope that only few of them are positive for COVID, but we want to make sure that all of them are tested for COVID.
And would that testing for all cases begin for all other patients as well? That COVID would be a test that you're looking at?
Well, we will follow the ICMR guidelines and protocols. Currently, ICMR guidelines and protocols don't allow for everyone to be tested for COVID. They allow only for the SARI and type of cases to be tested.
Thank you, sir. This is Swagata Yadava for The Print.